All right. May the words of my mouth and the meditation of mine heart be acceptable in Yahweh's sight. He is our strength and our redeemer. And it is in his name, which is his authority, that we pray, praise, proclaim, project, and protect tonight's message. Amen. Hola, mi nombre es Kofi. ¿Cómo está? Bonjour, je m'appelle Kofi. Ça va? Ni hao, namaste, Osaya Endikatuya, Ohio. I see you. Manut, Wagwan, Kamsa, Kamsamida, Aloha, Manut, Habarigani, Jambo, Mimi di Kofi, Nina Franco, Katana the Wewe, um, uh, Aquaba, Madase, Etese, um, um, Barakalad Sham Yahava at Nakwavai, Kohelet at Servants of Christ, Mashalam Khe. Hello, everybody. I'm Pastor Kofi, Pastor Servants of Christ, where we are always changing lives one mind at a time by being the voice of the voiceless and speaking the unspoken. Appreciate your presence. Thank you for joining us today. We'll be here briefly tonight. As a reminder, we do have our regional meetings on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. So please, ma'am, please, sir, if you are a part of SOC West, our goal is to try and make sure that we all meet up tonight on Zoom at about 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern New York time or 6 p.m. Pacific time. So we hope to hear from you all very shortly and very soon. To the rest of you all, we shall prayerfully see you guys tomorrow. And thank everybody who joined us for Thursday Rising Prayer earlier today and all that great stuff. We appreciate you so very much. But come on in, come on in. We're going to get started. We'll do our Bible pledge real quick, and then we'll jump in with tonight's topic, which is a little different than what we normally would do. We're going to discuss a movie. By the way, I'm going to have to go off of what everybody else says about the movie, for I am not going to go see this movie myself, but did a little bit of research, listened to some persons give some spoilers, looked at some of what the director and others who were involved with the movie wrote, and I think that we have some pretty decent contextual facts to be able to use and utilize for today's discussion or tonight's discussion. So thank you everybody for being on. How you doing, Minister Shantae? How you doing, Bruda? How you doing, Big Bad Wolf? Sister Monica, K1 and Only, Sister Deborah, Big Brother Thomas, Eddie, everybody who's on, Brother Darius. Yam Yasalav, happy born day to those with born days in the month of July. And yes, even though we don't believe in that born day cake or birthday cake and all that stuff, it doesn't mean that we cannot say that we're thankful that you had another year. For those who feel different about it, hey, to each their own. We still appreciate you and appreciate your life and the lives of those that you influence. How you doing since tonight? By the way, everybody who did fill out the form for us, at least for the VBS, should have got some response today to let you know that we did get a response from you, or we did get everything that you filled out. So if you haven't filled that out, please let us know so we can make sure that we're ready for everything that's going to be happening. How you doing, Sister Beverly? Long time no talk to you. How you doing, Minister Stephen? How you doing, Speakly Fee? I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly, but we appreciate you, everybody. Solomon's back there. Yeah, he did pretty well, actually. He did pretty well. Some small things that, a father, you see your son doing it, especially when you're teaching him. But he did very well. He did very well. It's his first official practice in a really, really long time. Well, in at least a year and a half. So he did pretty well. But thank you, everybody, for being on. How you doing, Sister Monica? Appreciate y'all. So let's say our Bible pledge real quick and jump right in. And once again, after this, we'll meet up with everybody at SOC West. You should have got an email already. After this, I will try to make sure that I send everybody a text that'll be on tonight. Amen. And tomorrow, we'll see everybody who's part of who's part under Minister Bertram's region and, excuse me, and Minister Shantae's region. So everybody tomorrow will be Oklahoma, Texas, Mexico, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Arkansas, Kentucky, and Tennessee. Amen. So we'll see you guys tomorrow. But tonight, everybody, SOC West. So basically, if you were on the whole west side, we're talking about Mountain Time, Pacific Time. If you're on that side of the United States Corporation or these United countries in the corporation, then we shall see you guys tonight at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern New York time at the top of the hour. Excuse me. Sorry, you guys. I need some water. Hold on. I got a weird setup today. Hold on 1 second, TikTok. Alrighty. So let's say our Bible pledge and jump right in. This is my Bible. This is my sword. And this will I trust. For Yahshua is Lord. No sword of God shall ever be heard. For this is my Bible, and this is Yah's word. Hashem Yahavach Amam. All right, tonight we're going to talk about a movie called Longlegs. How you doing, Brother Yosef? Tonight we're going to discuss, how you doing, Sister Nadine, if I didn't say so already. Once again, tonight we are going to discuss a movie called Longlegs, right? It is a horror flick. Once again, I'm going to be honest about it. I'm going off of things that I saw others present. Persons that were willing to give away spoilers. I looked at what directors and the director of the movie and others said about it, and looked at, and then prayed about it, thought about different things that were going on, and we're going to talk about this movie called Longlegs. Now, the reason is because this movie called Longlegs is kind of a microcosm of a lot of things that we see, a lot of things that are presented to us, and we should always recognize and realize that whenever persons are sending you stuff and putting stuff in the movies, many a time it's stuff that you come into agreement with before something spiritual or even manifests into certain physicality, and we should be aware of it as soon as we see it, right? So I'm going to be honest. Once again, I have not seen this movie. I can't tell you if it's a great horror movie. I don't really like horror flicks anyways. To be honest, I don't really do well. If I see blood and stuff up close and I got to save somebody, my CPR training kind of kicks in and military training kind of kicks in. But to be honest with you, if I have to go see it on the screen, I'm not really cool with a lot of gore and blood, guts, stuff like that. That being said, though, there is some stuff in here that I think we should be aware of. Right, I've never seen the show Lucifer, but I've heard enough about it where I could probably speak on it. Just because you haven't seen something, sometimes persons tell you enough about it where it's almost as if you've seen it multiple times. Excuse me. So, this movie called Longlegs. Now, to give you kind of an overview of the movie, to let you know, first of all, the movie is very satanic. It's actually written by the son of Norman Bates, who is the person who played. No, the son of the guy who played Norman Bates in the original movie called Psycho. So if you've seen the original, not the newer movie, but the original movie called Psycho, the son of that person is the one who wrote this, and apparently, and Norman and the guy who played that character. Okay, forgive me, y'all. I might be wrong on this part. I can't recall. I think he committed the act of unaliving himself. He passed away because of something that was out there, had some mental health issues and stuff. Or it could have been due to alcohol poisoning or something, too much alcohol. But I believe he might have unalived himself. And his mother, who was the wife of the person who played that character, his mother, who was an actress, she passed away on supposedly she was on one of the planes that hit the Twin Towers. I can only say supposedly and allegedly because that's what this person says, and just because certain persons say stuff unless you know it, right? So, but I wanted to at least put that. And he has some issues from his childhood, and the movie's supposed to be based off of his childhood and off of personal things he went through. The director makes a point of saying that. So the movie goes like this: it's Nicolas Cage is not I don't know if you would call him the main character. He's Longlegs. Longlegs is the person you're looking for, and Longlegs is this character who's in the movie. And basically, Nicolas Cage is supposed to play this person who's a serial offender of taking people's persons' lives. Sorry, I have to dance around the words, but you guys hopefully are catching what I'm saying. And there's this woman who's supposed to have psychic ability. And even though it's not too great, the FBI asked for her to go ahead and go on this case. And come to find out, when she gets in front of this person, Nicolas Cage, basically his character, Longlegs, who is very wild looking, very demonic looking, really is supposed to be like a former rock star who has and once again, spoilers in this. So if you're somebody who watches these types of movies or whatever, I'm going to be telling you about the movie and the ins and outs behind the scenes a little bit. So I guess spoiler alert if you're going to watch that movie or you want to wait to hear about it at some other time. But basically, Nicolas Cage is playing a character in which he is Supposed to be this guy named Longlegs. This guy Longlegs, we don't really know exactly who he was, but we know that he's supposed to be some kind of former rock artist or rock and roll artist or whatever. Like even something along the lines of Metallica-ish type of rock character. I don't know if he's supposed to be gothic or not, but there's some stuff that he's been into spiritually that got him connected to a spirit that's taken, well, that has him going through this stuff. And so they come to see him, um, and he basically offs himself in front of the woman. Before he does, when they ask him why is he doing what he's doing, and why would he off these families and stuff that he's been doing, which is what they think is going on. They think he's just offing these families. He says, I don't know, ask your mother, and then takes his life by banging his head on the desk until he no longer has life, which is wild way to go, right? And so that's kind of the beginning of this thing. Then she goes back to ask her mother questions. And when going back to ask her mother questions, how you doing, Sister Judith? And when she goes back to ask her mother questions, she goes with an FBI agent or two, something like that. They get back, and her mother can't recall anything that this guy, any person named Longlegs or any person that meets the description of what she's trying to describe. But she keeps saying, but she has this weird thing, and it's almost like she wants her to find out something for herself. Her mother's a hoarder and has like kept everything, including even like old teeth that she's lost when she was a young child, all types of stuff, very creepy stuff. So then basically, as the movie continues to go forward, they discover that basically Longlegs is inside. So Longlegs, that Nicolas Cage character played, he was basically possessed. Now, hear what I'm saying, right? I want you to see this as some of the stuff and how they present things in movies and stuff, and how sometimes even there's a spirit out there telling you, because once again, what a lot of these movies, they tell you what you can agree to or not. So catch this: what spiritually is being put on there, with this wicked spirit put in front of the movie screen for everybody. So apparently, Nicolas Cage, um, Nicolas Cage's character, this Longlegs character, this creepy person, um, is somebody who was actually possessed by a demon. And this person would go around to all different types of persons, and the movie's called Longlegs. So watch this. He would go to the fathers or the daddy Longlegs of each house. The whole house would be they would put a doll inside. This doll basically would end up like capturing. They use like these metal balls to symbolize it in the movie, but basically the doll would catch the thoughts and all the stuff of everybody, but also it had all these things inside the doll, and the doll had to be allowed to be put in the house. The girl didn't know this, but her mother basically was forced by Longlegs, this person possessed by the devil. So, literally, or at least possessed by a demon. So he said that he would come for her daughter if she never, if her as the mother did not make sure that these dolls were put in persons' houses. So that her mother, the mother of the protagonist, goes house to house, goes all the different places as she's led by the demonic spirit. Like we're led by the Holy Spirit, this person's led by the demonic spirit, and basically asks permission to put these dolls in persons' houses. Just presents it as something that's really nice that she'd like to do, and puts these dolls in persons' houses. And every person that gets it, the house ends up being influenced heavily by the devil, and eventually the fathers, hence the name of the movie, Longlegs, as in Daddy Longlegs. The fathers get out of pocket. They become creepy. They become like spiritual spiders in a sense. They take the lives of all these other persons, right, in the house. Eventually they're the ones responsible, and then she just goes from place to place to place. So when she finally realizes this, she goes one place, and her boss is having a party for her son. This is wild stuff. Her boss is having a party for her son, and the ball, or for his son, excuse me, or his child. I think it's his son. And she shows up, and all of a sudden the mother is there. The mother has shown up. The mother who is now there, but now the mother doesn't look the same. She's got a demonic face, and she starts asking her mom, like, why are you doing this? You don't have to do this. Please don't do this, mom. Please don't do this, mother. And she yells out in the demonic voice, don't call me that. So her mother is now possessed, has become something different. And so the father, the father of the person, they having this birthday party, whatever. Now he takes a knife and he says he's going to cut the cake, but he starts, you can hear, at least from what I'm told, I haven't seen the movie, from what I'm told, you don't see it, but you can hear the father's not cutting the cake, he's cutting the mother, right? He's no longer where he's supposed to be, he's possessed. Because the doll, come to find out, is in their house, and come to find out, the doll was actually in her house. The protagonist, the person who's supposed to be a psychic, apparently had been put in her house from when she was young. So so, if you look at it, you'll be like, okay, so apparently something happened with her own father or her mother, right? Her mother, you can already see what's happening, but more than likely something happens with her father, to where he was done. And then the movie ends basically with that. Like, the movie doesn't end with a great thing like the guy who Nicolas Cage played or whatever. Nicolas Cage's character at the end comes back and he's there. So basically, Nicolas Cage being the spirit of whatever this guy who's been influenced and possessed, right? And that's the movie Longlegs. Supposedly, it's supposed to be the scariest movie in the past 10 years. I don't really care about all that. I wanted to go and talk about the movie, though, because in essence, you're talking about a movie that's about demon possession. And if you're not aware, once again, when you go see these movies, all these movies are things that they're saying, they're telling you what's going to happen. And you can agree or disagree. You can walk with it or walk against it, but they're going to show you all these different things that have to do with, basically, will you agree to it or not? Right. So you'll see a lot of things that come out. You'll say, oh, that's just a movie. And a lot of persons, we just go, oh, well, that's not real or it doesn't exist. But a lot of this stuff is real. And one of the things that that's very true about this is demon possession. Right. I know this might not be a line upon line, precept upon precept word for you or something tonight. However, I believe it's very important to make sure that we are talk about this as on a regular basis, somewhat of a regular basis, and ensure that we are aware of what they're telling you. This is not something random, right? This movie that they try to plug and plug and plug, and Nicolas Cage, if you look at his life and a lot of stuff, he's already, something's going on with him spiritually. If you just look at some of the stuff that's happened in his life, he just finished playing. What character was that? Something Steen or something like that, where he's supposed to be Dracula and things of that nature. And and very, very crazy stuff happening in that movie. But I know he does a bunch of movies, but I'm just saying, like, you have to really look at this. Like, they're not randomly coming up with a movie about demon possession. They are not just randomly coming up with a movie about demon possession and how something can be placed in your house and how you might even allow something in your house just because you think that your child will be safe if you allow it in. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on with this movie. A lot of, not just demonic, not just satanic, there's a lot of stuff that you need to recognize. And I think it's a big warning that we should heed, because many of these movies come out, many persons write books about it, many television shows that you watch, there's a lot of cartoons that you saw, right? And we didn't look at it correctly. What'd you say, bro? Yeah, the Book of Enoch shows it for sure. Yeah, things like that. There's a lot of stuff that is shown to us, and if we're not careful, we'll just come into agreement, and we don't even look at it. We don't think about how many movie stars or how many producers, writers, etc., have written out so much stuff, and then everything seems to come true, and we say, "Man, it was prophetic. They must be with the Most High." No, like, if the devil planned on making something out of The Simpsons take place, right? And you have to be the one to agree. See, we were talking about this as rising a little bit. Recall, the devil and his demons, they have no authority, not even over hell. Like, when you hear preachers talking about he's got the keys and this and that, right? The key to hell, right? The key to hell is never in the possession of the devil. It's always in the possession of the Most High. You said, do I mean like things we get from people? I mean, sure. I think some of that should be looked at for sure. You should be prayed up. And, like, I can speak as a child. I've talked about this before. My mother received a doll. I don't know if it was like one of those little Hawaiian dolls that kind of shift side to side, but for some reason, like, it was a little different than that. It was like a little creepier than that. But she received like a thing. She liked it, received it from a friend that was supposed to have the same belief system that she had. Um, and as soon as she got the doll, I started hearing something calling my name. And, you could go straight to, oh, okay, well, someone's calling your name, say, here am I, something like that. But my mom, I guess, in listening to me, she was like, say that again. And I was like, I hear something calling my name. And so I kept talking about it for 3 days and stuff. And it was kind of creepy the way it sounded to me. So finally, she thinks about it. She goes, oh, I got that doll. When you started talking about that, she crunches the doll up, throws it away. Um, Never heard anybody calling my name in the house again. Right. My father's still in the same place. If I go back to my father's place, probably be going this Sunday possibly. And every time I go, I never, I never, still haven't heard it from that day. Right. So yeah, there can be gifts that persons give us. There can be all types of stuff. But I'm just saying, we've talked about this before, that we can confuse sometimes things for blessings just because we want them rather than Yahweh is our shepherd. We shall not want. We are not, we are not, so we do not lack. The word want means that I lack. What you say, bro? They twist the storyline off the same principles of our culture every time. A single time you notice, too, now that you think of it, yeah. And this stuff happens with all types of stuff, I know we haven't done a watch party in a while. We'll get one in soon. I just haven't had time to really sit down and watch anything that's been presented to us. But yeah, you'd be surprised at how much stuff is out there. Like I said, I haven't watched the movie, so who knows? Maybe all the stuff that I heard. I listened to several people today. I watched about probably 5 videos on it. I read a couple of different articles on it. But anytime when you see these movies, especially about demon possession, be careful. Matter of fact, a lot of persons don't know that in a lot of these movies, what they're actually doing is they actually go through rituals. A lot of us might not even be aware of that. In a lot of these movies, they actually go through rituals. So if you see some of the stuff they're doing and some of the stuff they're drawing on the floor, some of these are actual rituals that devil worshippers actually do. Some of these movies where you see somebody was off there, even some of the movies, some of the shows that were recent, they did a television show or whatever you want to call it, Netflix show, whatever, not too long ago, about Charles Manson, right? Charles Manson, that stuff that they outline and when they show stuff written on the wall and when they have certain pentagrams and all that stuff, that was stuff he did on purpose. That was stuff that they did with blood. They were given orders to do that stuff. You said, can some movies speak curses over the watcher? There are times where it's intended. That's just like, when we listen to the stuff we listen to, they're putting stuff in there backwards. Matter of fact, I'm glad you asked that question, Elwin, because same thing is actually with this movie. There's things in there where there's a lot of stuff that actually plays backwards. Different sounds, like for example, if you knew the sound, you could tell like maybe somebody was walking towards downstairs or something like that, but they play it in reverse so that you'll think that something safe is not. But they also in this movie, they do stuff where they clearly are making it the point to be like, praise Satan, hail Satan. The director did that on purpose. He says it in there. He said he did it to try and make it scary. Or there's stuff in there that they did where if you don't even believe that, they fully admit, right? They fully admit, it's written out. They fully admit in this movie that when you watch it, they actually like have stuff in there that they put backwards, like give us a great score on Rotten Tomatoes. So if you watch it, and you have this unction to be like, I don't even go on Rotten Tomatoes, but let me go on Rotten or not Rotten Tomatoes, but whatever you call it. Is it Rotten Tomatoes? I don't know what the site is called. But you're like, I don't even go on this site. But you know what? I feel like I need to go on this site. It's because they have several places in the movie where it's like, hey, give us a great review so that persons will come and watch it. Like there's all types of stuff that persons do on purpose. So this is why when we talk about being prayed up, being in the spirit, right, and knowing, being in a position where no weapon formed against us shall prosper, and every tongue that rises up itself up against us shall be condemned. But that's why law is important, because once again, law doesn't give rights, law protects rights. So it's important that we're under these laws. It's important that we're watching to be careful. It's important that we wouldn't even necessarily be honest with you, go and watch that movie unless you're really led to. Like I try my best not to do anything I'm not led to do. I don't watch movies I'm not led to watch. I'm not gonna say I've never binge watched anything. The most recent thing that I binge watched, I watched something I'd already watched again and I didn't make it past the first season, was what's that, Blacklist. I tried to like fast forward through all the episodes of Baki just because they were doing some really wild stuff, and a lot of our babies are starting to watch Baki. BAKI is anime. So, and they made into a Netflix series now. So where, they don't put some of the beginning stuff on there, but I mean, there's straight up women, being, uh, something that rhymes with great is happening to them on the show. So I was like, I prayed about it and stuff. I was like, yeah, I didn't watch it, but I fast forwarded. Most of it is like a lot of weird fighting and stuff like that. But some of it is stuff that has to do with, a lot of it is just very odd. A lot of stuff as far as like cannibalism is in there. And when persons are watching that, they're like, oh, they got Black Air Force energy, which is supposed to be a cute way of this generation saying like, oh, this person is straight wicked. But then also too, it's like they a beast, right? Because everybody want to be a beast. Everybody want to be wicked. Everybody want to be that guy. Being that guy means you got to be wicked. And there's a lot of stuff they're throwing out there. And so, yeah, you got to be aware. We have to guard our gates. Yeah, even with some of the lighting and stuff too, you'll see it with a lot of the fire that's written out. We've shown it and talked about it before. Think about Britney Spears, Beyonce, Rihanna, um, uh, uh, I'm forgetting some of the girls' names, but a lot of them, Aaliyah even, they had to do that pentagram stuff on the ground and blood and supposedly fake blood, but they all had to do that pentagram thing. And once they did it, then they got to a higher level. They got more gigs after that. They got more light shined on them. You said, what do I think of My Hero Academia? I've never watched it. I know of it, or I'm aware of it, but I can't say I've watched it. I don't think I've watched a single episode. I might not have even watched a single short about it. Seems like it'd be pretty difficult not to, but I couldn't, just be honest with you, Neil. I couldn't tell you a thing about it. I have no clue what it's about outside of obviously there's somebody who's a hero and something having to do with academics, I'm guessing. But that's a guess because I have no clue. Um, but yeah, how you doing, Mad Bear? So it's extremely important. How you doing, Minister Bertram? It's extremely important that we guard our gates. When I heard about this movie and then I saw just a lot of the still images, I haven't really watched video of the movie, but just watching the still images, especially of Nicolas Cage's character, and then the fact they called it Longlegs, and then the whole movie talking about Daddy Longlegs and how the men in the family, how the fathers are becoming vicious and taking their own families out. And we know that one of the biggest things that happens in society today is that you take out the father, you take out the leader of the family, who's supposed to be the leader of the family, who's supposed to be the protector, the foundation, etc. So, just when I saw that, it was something that I felt like we should talk about, not just only because of the movie itself. How I also felt we should speak on it because why not speak on it as society, as far as a lot of stuff that's being presented to us that really we shouldn't be paying attention to and giving that much credence to. You know, um, we should call that stuff out, or at least within ourselves and within our community, warn each other when we see or hear things like that. Somebody who really was really close to me in a spiritual father type role. Um, I'm gonna be honest with you. I had to they ended up kind of cutting themselves off. Um, However, they had to be cut off. They had invited us to a movie. Never seen a movie with them before. And guess what? You come to find out they really, really like horror movies. And we go see a horror movie. I don't see horror movies anyways, but the movie was crazy. I can't even tell you the name of it. It was some movie where they the children off their own parents, and it like the first person you see like the first, like you see somebody who's been offed, but the first person you actually see get offed is this girl. She's running in slow motion and they have like chicken wire that you can't see in the middle of the air, and she gets basically almost like decapitated in front of you. And that was like, and I couldn't take it, but I see them up there like, rearing back, almost rearing back, and letting out hearty laughs, and they screaming out in the whole theater, I can't believe you didn't see that coming, and blah, blah. And their wife is sitting next to them laughing and stuff. And I'm just sitting there like if this is funny to you, if this spiritual thing that's taking place is like, I was like, I can't. And so eventually there was separation that had to happen. I didn't even want it. They kind of did some stuff to where they took themselves out of the equation. But, yeah, I guess because they're desensitized to it and stuff. I don't know if they watched it when they were little or whatever. I don't know. I just know I don't ever want to become, I don't think I can. I've tried to sit down and watch horror movie. I can't. A life being taken, or especially if it looks real, because if it looks real, then you should have some real senses, right? Something in you should go, even if this isn't real, like if it feels like it's real, if it feels like somebody's being offed. I remember when I was in the military, United States military, no cap. Some of you might have seen the videos. You remember when they had those videos and they were showing how some of our, well, I'm not part of the citizen anymore, but when I was in, some of our American citizens, some of our fellow soldiers were going over, right? Marines were going over, or servicemen were going over, and they would get they would get decapitated on film, or like you could see it. I don't know if some of you saw it, but maybe you heard about it. And I had never seen it, never wanted to see it. And then when I came into the command, they're sitting down at the computer and they pulled it up and they're sitting up there listening. And then they start showing it and you can hear the gurgling and all this stuff. And it was one of the worst things I've ever experienced. Like I have PTSD from that, besides other things that I was actually in the field. Like I have PTSD from that, sometimes more so than anything else. Because it was watched like almost, and they were sitting up there, your fellow service member, you would think you feel some kind of way about it. And maybe they would use it as some kind of motivation. But real talk, they were sitting up there like, oh, they were reacting like it was a movie. Oh, that's sick. Oh, you hear that? Oh, blah, blah. You think that's real? You think that's what really happens? And it's like, bro, this is stuff that we're not supposed to even be watching on U.S. property right now, United States military property right now, let alone like sitting up here watching it like it's a movie. You said they had it animated to somewhat prepare you, but nothing can prepare you for what they're. Yeah, yeah, and I get that. I don't know if I wasn't really, yeah, I never really got that training, but I could even see that. But the whole thing of like watching an actual life, and I mean, they were what do they call that? They call it because some cats to show you how crazy it is. Some cats are in the pornography. What do they call that? When they take somebody's life. Like there's cats out there with sick minds, but you got to see it start somewhere. What is that? I can't remember the name of it. I've heard of it before. I've read about it before. But there's some craziness out there. So I'm just saying, overall, be careful because some of the stuff that we don't think is like relevant, or some of these items that you're not believing, are actual things where like, they're going to be there, or you think it's just fake, or you think it's just a movie. They're putting this stuff out for you to come into agreement with. You listen to it enough, you see it enough, you'll come into agreement. Right? Even if it's because, like, even when we talk about being desensitized, if somebody's desensitized, basically you snuff films. There you go. They call it snuff. Right? Snuff films. Right? If you ever see any film with snuff, it means somebody's either going to pretend to be unalived or they're going to be unalived. Right? And you got to comprehend, if somebody's watching that means somebody's like getting into serial killer mentality. You have to, forgive me, I'm not supposed to say it. You get into the mindset of somebody who does it in a serial manner. You have to have their mind. You have to take on the mind of the person doing that. When you go watch a movie, you have to have a suspension of disbelief. So, if you're going to watch Obi-Wan Kenobi, literally be in a position to where he watches his master, who was close up, who his master is supposed to be greater than he is. His master goes up against, what's his name? The cat with the horns. I don't know why I'm forgetting his names. On Star Wars, right? With the red paint and everything. And you're going to watch that cat beat his master up close, and then basically have Obi-Wan Kenobi hanging from a ledge while his lightsaber is way up above him. Somehow, some way, he's going to jump up above the person above him, flip over and do all that stuff. You have to see it from Obi-Wan's perspective and suspend disbelief and believe that what you're watching is something that you are in. You have to believe that it's somehow, some way, somebody who's better than Obi-Wan Kenobi would allow him to come from several feet beneath him, somehow use the force to jump over him while getting his weapon at the same time, then let him land behind him, and then rather than fight him, turn around and look in shock and then get cut in half. You know what I'm saying? Darth Maul, thank you. That's what I'm thinking of. Right? You have to let go of reality, even something that should be reality within the world it's in. You have to let go of it enough to be able to say, okay, I can take this. Right? You have to suspend your disbelief. But when you suspend your disbelief, what you're saying is, I'm willing to believe whatever I see. So I'm just saying, be careful when you see these movies that come out. This last one we're talking about is Longlegs. Hey, hello again, Sister Beverly. How you doing? So there's one we're talking about today is Longlegs. But just be careful when you see any of these movies coming out, that all of them are trying to show you something. That's why we even did the whole Lord of the Rings long thing. That's why we even did the Terminator 1, Terminator 2, and Matrix, which were written originally to be a trilogy, all three of them together, right? That's the reason why we go through this stuff, because everything you're watching, somebody's telling you, not just telling you a story, somebody's telling you something. Even with all the Mother Goose rhymes, and really they were supposed to be Mother Goose Grimm, so they're supposed to be grim tales to warn your children. But even with all of those, they're written specifically to what? To make your child get in that mindset and believe that if Hansel and Gretel can get ate up by a witch, then maybe I shouldn't mess around with witches, or maybe I shouldn't be eating too much, right? If I'm gluttonous, then maybe I get ate by a witch. That's why they wrote it. They didn't write it randomly. They didn't write it so you would enjoy the story. They wrote it so that you'd be scared and your child would be scared, right? The story of Pinocchio ends a lot different than what you've seen, right? And Pinocchio is supposed to be off the chain. Pinocchio, actually, in the real Pinocchio, he squashes Jiminy Cricket, right? And the real Pinocchio, he has no idea of right and wrong, like to the slightest. And the real Pinocchio, like, he's doing some really crazy, wild stuff. So it's designed for you to be able to get a really crazy, wild result. The real Peter Pan is supposed to be a spirit, that basically the same spirit as Cupid, right? And Cupid is one that basically was not only a pedophile, I'll say it that way, a pedophile, but not only that, but Cupid is supposed to be one who can turn into a little baby, he can turn into a man. He's somebody who's very sexually out there. He's somebody who's supposed to be he's somebody who basically, like Peter Pan is, even looking up the spirit Pan. And the writer of Peter Pan said this, and the writer of Peter Pan was somebody who literally had all these boys living on his property, right? And took them when they were really young and raised them, right? And then got rid of them when they got to a certain age. The guy who wrote it, he made it a point, he worshiped this Pan spirit. I wrote it out that way. So when you're watching this stuff, when you're reading these items, when you're seeing this stuff was designed to get you to agree with certain things. And slowly but surely now it's got to a place, especially now that you've got social media, but even before then, our parents didn't grow up watching VHS all day, every day. You didn't watch VHS as much as you watched it later on in your life. You didn't, our parents didn't grow up with certain things or whatever. You didn't have access to 24/7 news. You didn't have access to Skinamax. Y'all remember when Cinemax was Skinamax? Probably still is, for all I know. We didn't. Your children weren't watching Game of Thrones and watching the Aquaman guy, literally marrying and then kind of graping the girl who becomes, somebody great, and her brother was the one who, her and her brother were having basically incestuous type thoughts, of not relationship. It was her brother who basically kind of sold her out so that this guy can go ahead and have her way with her, so that hopefully they'd be able to make some money. You know what I'm saying? Like these movies, these shows, they're being put in front of you for you to agree, right? And so I just warn you about it, because I want you to know that you don't have to agree, and I want you to know that Yahweh the Most High, he set it up to where we don't have to be around this stuff, and that if we do see it, we can go through prayer, we can go through fasting. Maybe we need to even fast from watching anything for a while, right? But we have to. He did not place this stuff for you to have to open your eyes to it. Your children don't have to watch that. There's all types of stuff that's out there. Even persons who say, I don't know what my children can watch. Can they watch anything? I promise you, if you want, there's some of us who have the same problem, and we can definitely help you with certain things or whatever. We can give you stuff on different levels. We have SOC stuff. Even if you might say, well, my child, I don't know if they want to do that. They need to be watching something that's flashing on the screen. No, your child needs something that's in reality. Remember, even with Mickey, the word Mickey, if you take the word Mickey and you place it backwards, right? If you see the word, like, when those of you, if you've ever seen like a Mickey cup, right? Let's say you had Mickey cup and you put some coffee in the cup, and you can see the reflection of the word Mickey in the cup. It spells out wicked, right? Spells out wicked. That's why it's written the way that it is. That's why it has that special writing. You're like, why does it have that special writing, that special calligraphy? Because it's supposed to get you to think wicked. By the way, your eye catches it when it's upside down, because when you see things, you see it upside down first. So your eye has to switch upside down and right side up all the time. Your brain has to do that all the time. So when you see certain words, when there's even a guy, I don't know his name, but on YouTube, he pops up on my YouTube or on Facebook shorts a lot, where he'll do calligraphy, where he can take a name or whatever, or take whatever name or word you give him, and he can do it right side up, and then also write it to where it flows straight without any break. It flows straight into being upside down at the same time. They do stuff like that all the time. Just like we said, they play things in reverse, like we were talking about with Longlegs today, or like Jay-Z has, albums out and you can play it backwards and it says "Kill Jesus." And even though we don't worship Jesus, we worship Yehoshua still. You get the reference, right? Like there's all types of stuff out there. But yeah, when you take the word Mickey and you have it in that cup, if it's engraved in the cup on the inside, if you ever see the reflection of it, it actually spells out wicked. That's something that was done purposefully, right? Now, if you go back and you look at Walt Disney and what Walt was into, well, then, yeah, makes a lot of sense. You see that Walt was a staunch supporter of Hitler. Makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of stuff that's there. A lot of stuff is done like that over and over again. And we think that, once again, it's not real. You see it in a movie, they present it to you, and they say, oh, well, it's not real. This is just, for us to be able to look at it and kind of just go, oh, okay, cool. You see this, you see that. No, be aware, right? Y'all should not be mocked. So hopefully you got something out of today. It wasn't really line upon line, precept upon precept, but it is what it is. It was something that was necessary to let you guys know. I will not be on tomorrow evening. Prayerfully, everything should be all right. Everything is all right. It's just we need to do something as a family. So I will not be on tomorrow evening. I will see you guys tomorrow. Just got to get some stuff done. Those of you who filled out the forms and stuff for us, some of you should have got the stuff, at least for VBS. You should have got a response to let you know that we did see that you filled everything out. Once Sister Renee kind of comes back into the fold and she has a chance to kind of settle in, she should be getting back tomorrow, or maybe even today, celebrating the 25th year anniversary. Salute to you and Brother Torino, in case you see this. Thankful and grateful whenever Yahweh continues to do great things, especially concerning marriage. That's awesome, especially in these days and times nowadays. But we're thankful. We're appreciative of you guys being on. We thank you guys. Oh, yeah, Nickelodeon, by the way. Doesn't Nickelodeon translates in its original language to have no belief in the Most High? I think that's what Nickelodeon literally translates to. So a lot of the stuff we watch, we don't even know what this stuff means yet. But that being said, thank you all for being on. Appreciate you. I'm going to go ahead and take my leave. If you are in SOC West, tonight is your night at the top of the hour. So in 5 to 7 minutes or so, something like that, we'll be meeting up. So hopefully we'll catch you guys there. And then everybody else who we haven't seen this week, you guys will be tomorrow. All right. Hopefully I'll be able to catch you guys in the evening, but we definitely will not be able to do the live session at 8 p.m. Eastern New York time. So if we need to reschedule, you guys who are in Oklahoma, Texas, Alabama, Mississippi, Arkansas, etc., I'll try to let you guys know earlier in the day if we need to try and move you guys maybe to Saturday or something like that. But it is our goal to still meet up. But tomorrow, definitely, there will be no live session on TikTok or YouTube in the evening. We'll still be on tomorrow, early in the rising, but in the evening, we won't be on. Okay? So thank you all. Appreciate you. We look forward to talking to you guys very soon. Also, to those who have Shabbat school, I believe Shabbat school is going to be this Saturday, even though Elder Alma will be preaching more than likely during the time. So she's looking at putting some stuff together, maybe some older movies that we've watched or some of the videos that we watched before in times past that children really liked. But we will make sure that we come together for them for Shabbat school. So just be aware that that even though Elder Alma will be preaching, we will still make sure that there's something for you all, for the babies to see. Okay? All right. Thank you all. We appreciate you again. Take care. And hopefully we'll see everybody tomorrow. Thank you, everybody who was on the Thursday Rising Prayer, and those who are part of SOC West. Prayerfully, we'll see you guys in just a little bit. Talk to you soon. Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, actually. No. We're not there yet. I don't know why I'm thinking Friday. All right. Shalom. We'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you for being on again. Shai Shalom. Take care of yourself and your families. We give our honor and praise to the Most High. We give our praise and honor to Him for my wife, the Honorable Amma. And remember, as always, family, that you are loved, you are necessary, you're majestic, you're fearfully and wonderfully made, and you, which is all of us working together, will be the reason why people who are in this system no longer have to be of it. Shalom. Peace. Take care.